So I'll begin again, since I'm actually recording now, talking about it is Monday, the start of week 3 in critical thinking. So it is 11/7, 2022. What we're talking about, nobody wanted to cover anything from last week, and how pretty straightforward everything is from the book. One thing I would like to say, if you look at your grade and you think it's suffering a little bit, or it's not where you want it, go to the discussions. Okay. That is killing a few people's grades. And not even, not even making people fail. It's just one of those things. You might have a high C when you could easily have a low A or a high B, or a mid C or someplace along that line. And so, and I know everybody hates to do them. And I know I get on my soapbox just about every week, and especially at the beginning when we start a new class, and do your discussions, do your discussions, do your discussions. But please, it's not hurting me if you guys don't do them. It's just hurting your grade, and I want everybody to do the best they can and get the best grade they can. So just do them. I know they seem a little daunting at first. Nobody likes to express their opinion out in public, or most people don't, and they feel embarrassed, like everybody's going to marry Ross. That think somebody's going to think you're not smart, or your opinions wild or whack or whatever. But I usually use the word whack. Don't laugh at that, Clarissa. Yeah, crack is whack too. I remember that.
Sorry.
So but it's not like that. It's like going to the gym. Nobody's looking at you like you shouldn't be there in these discussions. Everybody's looking at you like you should be there, and they're going to read it and appreciate what you say. So don't be embarrassed. So let me see how many people we got. 22 people, 21, not including myself, and that's a pretty good crowd. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Anybody have a chapter they want to cover? We have 7, 8, and 9 coming up. Anybody have anything in particular they've already looked at, or do we just want to pick one? I was going to pick the chapter 9, which is thinking about moral issues. And since we have an election tomorrow, is everybody going to go vote tomorrow? Not that I'm trying to tell you which way to vote, because I will not do that, but I do encourage everyone to go and make their voice heard on November 8th. Yep. Whatever it is, it's important you go out. Whether we all agree or not, that's one of our sacred duties that I think we should all take seriously, which is, going and participating in the democratic process. We have some tight races here. The one for governor, I think, is going to be tight. And then what was the other one? Oh, and we have some local ones here that's going to be tight. But I think for the one, the governor, I looked at the polls, is going to be the really tight one. So we'll see how that turns out. I'll be sitting there doing my nerd thing and watching the polls all night tomorrow night. And then also Pennsylvania, Arizona, and I think a few of those are going to be real tight as well. All right, can everyone see my screen? Okay, so of course, participate as best as you can. I know some people can't. I know Adam here, I think he said he had his wisdom teeth pulled, which is not fun at all. We were just talking about that. I was just talking about that with someone else, talking about wisdom teeth, and I'll never get mine pulled out. Who said that? Did you say, can you make it bigger? I will try without cutting too much off. That is about all I can do, Deidre. You must be on your Surface. You're welcome. Yeah. Well, mine are weird, and they were like, well, they're really close to a nerve bundle, and we don't want to try to pull them because we could make your face go wonky forever. So I adopted not to do that. Emma's smiling like your face is already wonky. Boom, boom. Um, so ethics and morals are terms that refer to the principles that govern our relationships with other people, the way that others should act, and the standards and others should employ in the choices they make. What do you think? That's true or false, guys? Cool thing about true or false, you get two shots at it.
True.
That is incorrect. And if I remember right, I could probably pull up the principles that govern our relations with other people are I can look at the book. I believe that would be the morals part. You have ethics and morals. That's no doggone it. Okay, I am confusing myself here. It's Deidre's fault. I made the screen big. Now I can't figure out what I'm doing. A critical approach to ethics is found on the principle of impartiality, which says that it is our moral obligation to treat everyone equally with the same degree of consideration and respect, unless some persuasive reason exists not to. They Manny threw a false out there. Oh, that's true. And that's part of the golden rule, isn't it? Which is we want to treat everyone in the way we want to be treated, unless some reason exists not to. And there are, and even then, you don't want to. I don't know. There's a saying. I don't know. Does anyone ever read my emails? Probably not. But everyone's saying on the bottom, which is never be cruel, never be cowardly, and never ever eat pears, which this is all from a TV show, by the way. Remember, hate is always foolish, but love is always wise. Always try to be nice, but never fail to be kind. So, and I kind of took that. Why am I just terrible at computers today? I kind of take that to heart, that you always want to treat people fairly in this way possible. And if not for any other reason, you never know when the roles may be reversed. So, and I remember, there's, and plus, and that goes along with people that I believe people, they look on certain people or types of people differently, that they're not, they feel like they're above certain people. Usually it's people that work in retail or waitresses or somebody like that, who they really feel, I see people are really entitled to feel mean to. And I never understood that. Plus, I like to keep the saliva count on my hamburgers as low as possible. So I'm always nice to the waitresses. See, so number 3, the authoritarian moral theory is embodied in the golden rule: do unto others as you would have do unto you. We all agree that's false. And authoritarian mindsets, that goes into, and we just talked about the Nazis a while ago, right? Oh, you're good. You're good. Adam, I know you got your wisdom teeth out. I am not going to mess with you. You know, I've had so much dental work done. When I had my implants done, I was completely just out of my mind. My mouth was so sore. I have people ducking in and out here, so okay. Um, and we were talking about, the authoritarian mindset, which is, goes along with your fascists, which started in Italy, which moved on into Nazi Germany, your old communist regimes, USSR, Cuba, Venezuela now. These are all authoritarian type regimes. And, we didn't even touch on the kings and queens of old that, you Western society is an anomaly historically, where we base everything on the individual, individual rights, individual responsibilities. For thousands of years beforehand, you were grouped in you were in a group, you were in a caste. You were judged by uh, your relationship to that group. Okay. And a lot of that, we could see that how they used to hold people responsible for the sins of their ancestors. When their ancestors would do things, the entire family would be held responsible. So you weren't an individual, and so Western society is kind of an anomaly historically, and it seems to work as long as we all do our part, hopefully. And we base that on some moral bases, Locke, Montesquieu, guys like that. The ethic of care is built on empathy, a critical thinking, commitment to view issues and situations from multiple perspectives. Oh, you are right. I think that is tour there, Tyler. Tour as tour can be. The concept of moral duty was articulated. Sorry, Tyler, I had to. But if everybody in front of me every time I type something wrong, then we'd never get anything else done. The concept of moral duty was articulated by a German philosopher named Jeremy Bentham, who wrote that it is important for each of us to do what is right, regardless of the consequences. Bentham called his moral duties categorical imperatives. You talking about this one, Mandy? Okay. There you go. Good job. Mandy's on top of it. To live a life that achieves your moral potential, you must work to become aware of the issues that you face and strive to make choices that are grounded in thoughtful reflection supported by persuasive reasoning. All right, Mandy, just keep jumping in there. All right. Ethical views are primarily statements of reasons, not expressions of emotions. All right, Emma. Okay. And honestly, no one should get any of these true or false ones wrong when we have to check my works here. So the statement, I would do whatever made me happy, is a reflection of an altruistic moral theory. False. That is that is absolutely right. It is not altruistic to do whatever makes me happy. That's But I think that is, once again, um, there's always that balance between making yourself happy and making the people around you happy. I used to tell my kids when they were younger, and I don't think they understood it. I always told them that sometimes in order to put them first, I had to put them second. Which would be whether it was second to the relationship to their mother or second to sometimes my job. You know, and in order, and it seems kind of weird. In order to put them first, I had to do things that didn't always, put them, at the forefront because I was trying to take care of them in a much larger way. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. Which means sometimes I would be late or miss a birthday party, or I would, you know, um, things of that nature, not things you'd want to do. There's like that. Yeah. I'm gonna copyright that one now. Formulation of Kant's categorical imperative focuses on treating people respectfully by treating them as a means and never to an end. Hey, Laura. Mandy's on top of it. Once again, as Paul. So make sure I have Laura down here.
Oh, because it's like 5:30 here. So I actually thought I was like right on time. I'm like, hey, cool, I'm right on time.
That's right. You're in the mountain time zone, aren't you?
Yeah, so it does throw me off. It does throw me off some. I'm sorry.
It happens. Hold it. Are you in the right class, Laura?
Probably not.
You are super early, I believe.
I'll get off.
Yes, you are super early. No, you have come back in about an hour.
Okay, we will. I'll talk to you then. Bye.
Oh, Joyce is here too. Did I get you, Joyce? I don't remember if I did or not. I got you now. Okay, back to this. The hedonist moral theory advises people to do whatever brings them pleasure. That is true. If you ever study the 60s, you'll talk to you a lot about the hedonistic ways of the hippies. Where we made that turn from service to trying to make yourself happy by any means necessary. Honestly, not any means necessary. Then the use of I'd say I won't even get into it. In fact, I'm gonna keep myself out of trouble. The philosophical theory that asserts that there is a morality based on the essential nature of human beings that is universal and binding to all people is known as it's natural law. Yep. And that is, and that's one of the things that, since we're going into, good job, Joyce, Mandy, that's one of the things we go into since we're talking about voting tomorrow. That is the big thing that went into Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, which was given rights granted to us by our Creator and not by anyone else. Whether it's so that's what we describe as natural law. From a critical thinking perspective, morality makes sense only if we assume that people are able to make blank for which they are responsible. Free choices, once again. And once that ties back into the founding of the country, like I said, which if I can get any chance to refer to that because of us going to the booths tomorrow or sitting at a big table, like I do at my polling place. I don't even think I think they only have like one or two of those little cardboard things so you can hide what you're doing. Usually just people just sit out in the open and do it. From Bentham's perspective, good and right are defined in terms of what brings about the greatest pleasure from the greatest number of people. This moral theory is called utilitarianism. That's right. And and good and bad are definitely humanistic, are definitely created by us. You don't see good and bad represented in nature in the way we good and bad. You see survival. That's why the crocodiles and the water buffalo can sit in the pond and coexist, just because the crocodile's not hungry right then. Okay, a formulation of the categorical imperative is based on the notion that you should treat people with kindness and respect as they treat you, always as an end and never as a means, and as being worthy of consideration. I think if I ever take a philosophy class, I'm gonna cheat off Mandy. Always as an end and never as a means only. According to an empathetic point of view, achieving happiness and fulfillment in life involves pursuing your aspirations in context of genuine understanding of a concern for other people. What philosophy is that? Excuse me, I had sneezes. Oh, I got some. I got Mandy going ethics of care. I got ethics of care out of Emma. I got hedonism out of Joyce, and I got utilitarianism out of Deidre. And got natural. I've got a little bit of all. I'm going to go with the ethics of care because we know it's not part of natural law. We know it's not hedonistic to the concern for other people. That's a concern for yourself. So once again, we all just ought to follow Mandy around. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Yeah. If when confronted by a moral dilemma, you would choose to do what is best for everyone involved, you're expressing what type of theory? Altruistic, right? Yep. If you were to lose your keys, you might go back to a time when you last had your keys and go through all the things you did in order to determine where you might have put them. This process is known as blank pattern of thinking. No, Mandy. Oh, maybe she was right. See, the problem with that philosophy on finding your keys is it never works for me. Although, funny key story. Love you too, sweetie. I had the other set of keys to my car. No, she gave up, Emma. She just. But anyway, I'd lost I had a set of keys that had been gone for like an entire year, and my wife found them the other day. They were in the pocket of the back pocket of the front seat of her car. In fact, half the time I don't know where I left my wife, so I'm not sure if that matters or not. In fact, I think I heard her in the other room. She finally got home, so I better be nice. Was it Benny Youngman, old comedian from back in the old days, where he had a little violin, and his one of his things was "Take my wife, please." So, given the same situation as described in the previous question, assume that you decide to turn your friend into the authorities because there's a reward for turning in your shoplifter. Your decision will describe what moral theory? Ego, huh? Yep, there we go. Turn your friend into the authorities, but there's a reward for turning in shoplifters. Okay, we call those snitches, and we all know what snitches get. Not rewards from the authorities. Um, the German philosopher Immanuel Kant based his approach to ethics on a universal rational principle called categorical imperative. Kant's a good one too, if you ever get to read any of his stuff. Like I said, I always got hung up on Carl Jung a lot, and there's so much in there. And then I ended up, reading things like Dostoevsky and the Russian guy. And thank you. My Russian is terrible, but a moral blank is a situation in which at least two different moral principles to which you are appealing seem ethically sound and appropriate. Problem is that they contradict each other. We all got a dilemma. Now, the same thing would be if you had two different choices. You had a binary choice, and both of them were bad, right? And then what do you do? Which, back to the election tomorrow. No, that's too easy. And there's a quote, and I don't remember who the quote was from, but they talked about a when you have nothing but bad choices. I believe the quote was something like along the lines of, in a massacre, there's no good place to stand. So, when you have this, when you have nothing but bad choices to make, you just try to do the best you can out of them. And that happens a lot of times. Most people's values are not a system at all. They are typically a collection of general principles, practical conclusions, emotional pronouncements. Your challenge is to create more refined and accurate blank and enlightened system of values that you can comfortably guide your moral decisions. That's right. That is your moral compass. And like they said, that's, we all, our moral compass is based on, how we were treated, how we were raised, our experiences through a lifetime. And so that compass can shift as you go along, hopefully for the better. Governmental policies such as affirmative action, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the Equal Opportunity Employment Act, examples of what type of ethical principles? Justice. That's my Uncle Vernon with the spoon eating ice cream. Now, and once again, I believe they are taking up, the Supreme Court is taking up affirmative action again right now. So that's something it's in the Supreme Court to see. And I know last time they made a decision on it, I believe they said there was going to be like 25 years before they have to look at it again, and it's been about 20 years. So Doggone it, keep hitting the same button. Here we go. The little girl next door says that she was taught to never lie because her grandpa says it's wrong. This type of mentality, example of what kind of moral theory? Authoritarianism. And as parents, we're usually authoritarian, right? Do as I. Anybody have kids? They don't do as I do, not do as I say, but not as I do. We try. Well, and one of the things I always told my kids, which maybe I can come up with a nugget of anything too, is everything. I try not to do that. Everything we, as parents, everything we ever did was to keep our children safe. Every rule ever made, every time they, got in trouble, it's not because, we wanted to be, these terrible, terrible parents. It's just because we were trying to keep them safe in the immediate and then moving them forward so, they would know how to do it on their own. Hopefully it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Because you do all that groundwork and then they become teenagers and then they forget everything you ever taught them for a few years. The ethic of justice emphasizes is, why is this so hard to read today? The ethic of justice emphasizes the consequence of an action, the intention and motivations behind that action, the strategies used to make moral decisions, and accepting responsibility for your moral choices. Talk about intent, right? And even certain laws are based on intent. Did you mean to? Were you meaning harm when you did this thing? Okay. But intent is hard to judge. The Thinker's Guide to Moral Decision Making includes all the following except. Okay, and let me see. It includes all except for, does it include the ethics and care of justice, recognize that ethics are based on emotions, make morality a priority, or develop an informed moral intuition. And we have B's all the way around. Hey, look at that. We made 100. So everybody should have 100 on that one, right? You can go back to it, Tammy. You'll be all right. When you're not doing your short shift today. All right. Well, this went a lot quicker than I would like, and I kind of thought it would. So
I actually think I've already completed that. I completed a few of them for next week.
I actually had a couple of people, and I don't remember. I know one of them, I think, was Natisha. Was that, or is she in this class? It was the other class.
The only thing I gotta get done is the post that's due on Wednesday. I always forget because in the past, like I've already like graduated from community care like 2 other times already. So all the other classes, the posts were due on the same day as the essay was. So
Right.
I'm trying to get that installed in my brain that the posts are due Wednesday and the actual assignment is due Sunday.
And if you look actually on Canvas, you'll see it says everything is due on Sunday because I have to give it a solid date. Hey, Mary son, what's up, my dude? I have to make them due on Sunday, and I push everybody to get the initial post done by Wednesday so everybody else can have something to reply to. But if you happen to turn it in on Thursday, it's not like I go looking for you. I'm just trying to get them done. So because if we don't have them done by Wednesday, then people don't have anything to reply to. In a class this size with 28 people right now, that's not such a concern. It's when I have the class of 6, 7, 8, 9 people. And so if you have only 2 or 3 doing their initial post, and then then it just kind of makes it messy, and everybody tries to jam it in on Sunday. So, and speaking of which, there's a few people, I don't remember if it's this class or the other one. Make sure that you're doing 2 peer replies. I had a bunch of people only do 1. And so, that's taken, 5 points out of 30 off the table. And I think I even sent an email out this weekend. I was like hounding people on discussions and everything else. And is everywhere, if you, and I also been sending out emails to people who I'm concerned about their grade for one reason or the other. So you may have got an email from me on Mondays, kind of, hey, here's your grade, here's your GPA, here's what you need to do to move forward. And in that vein, I like to take an opportunity to make sure everyone understands that in order to graduate, and I think Tammy can tell us, Tammy knows, you have to have a minimum of a 2.0 GPA. Okay, that is a C average. Okay, you can go through all the school and pass every single class, but if you do not have a 2.0 GPA, you cannot graduate. Actually, when I was in engineering school, you had to have a 2.5 to graduate with that civil engineering degree. And a lady, she graduated about a year and a half before I did. She had like a 2.49 GPA, and she did not get to graduate. She had to take another class to kick herself up to a 2.5 before they would actually let her walk and get her diploma. So she did all that work and had to take one more class. And it was just, here it's a little different because you don't have one more class you can really take. You'd have to go take another one over again. Guys, so just be aware that 2.0 minimum to graduate. Keep an eye on your GPA. If you have any questions about your GPA, where you're at, or what you need to do to move forward, shoot me an email or something, and I will help you out with it. And I see here, Mandy did all the assignments. Good job, Mandy. In the other class, I have a couple of people that's done all the assignments. So as everybody knows about your GPA, everything else, discussions I've touched on. I can't think of anything else. This kind of went quick tonight. Anybody else have any questions or concerns? If not, we will shut her off pretty early and give everybody a break, including me. You're good? Okay. I will stop the share. I will stop recording.